Hello again, welcome to European Autocraft Studios 944 Turbo project. The 944, because of our recent dilemma here with the parking and landlord and all the cranky people want us to get all these cars out of the way. This car is going to have to go back to the owner's house temporarily. We still have a pile of parts in there that we're going to be working on for our videos for you guys to see what we're doing while this is up there. He's still short of cash. So he's trying to save some money so we can get it into the body shop while we're doing the rest of it. Our electrician's going to be here Wednesday. So he's going to wire up our air conditioning system and get the wiring set up for our phase converter, for the three-phase compressor that will give us power, air pressure for the wet blaster that we can then start restoring these parts and putting them back together nice, fresh, and clean. So, one more walk around, I guess, before we say goodbye to this. You've probably seen it 1,000 times, but why not one more? We're going to be taking some nice close-up pictures of the decals. I'm pretty sure all that's still available. Yeah, the federal label here, everything else. Hopefully, he can save the fenders along the way. We're going to be taking all the foam out. We still haven't done that, so when it comes back, we'll get that done. That's no big deal. We just haven't really gotten to it yet. No sense in rushing since it's not going to the body shop today. Maybe not tomorrow. So there it is in all its glory. We want to paint the inside too, even the inside of the doors again, to make it all brand new. We'll probably end up with a parts car, so we can cut out the rotted pieces down to the floor, and this entire section has to be replaced. So I was on the phone with him today, lining up a transport, and he stated time and time again how much he wants to see this project through and get it finished. This car means a lot to him, a lot more than just another car. So we want to make it really nice for him, and hopefully he can get over his little financial burden there and difficulties and get started with this for the body shop. Other than that, we have a lot more work to do on the wiring harness, the air conditioning system, suspension, front and rear suspension, engine, transmission. We've got tons of stuff to do. That'll come a little at a time as we move along. So we're going to say goodbye to this as the body for a little while, but it'll be back. And when it's back, we'll be back on it, getting ready to go to the body shop. So that's about it for now. We're going to go back and take a look at this wiring harness and see what needs to be repaired and put a plan together for that. So we'll see you inside. All right, we're back inside now. We have the wiring harness here. We've had a lot of people asking about the this wiring here for the fan resistors, for the cooling fan resistors. I'm going to go through and show you how they go up through the harness and how we can go about fixing those. But first, take a look in our back alley, the back lot we used to call it, where all the cars were, our 944 Turbo, which you saw up front, and all the cars are now being moved around, some inside and some just moved around. So take a look up the alley and see what we got out there. Nothing. Until we find a new place to work, we're going to be cramped. It's going to be difficult. So, well, let's get started on this. You remember the fan resistors on the firewall inside the car for the cooling fans on the radiator and condenser. Well, this is what we have. This nice little mess here. We want to strip all this down and come all the way up through the harness. You can see they're all in the harness here. There's really no risk of shorting out, because all it's going to do if it shorts out is bypass a resistor, make your cooling fans run a little faster. And that may be happening in some cases. And we're going to go all the way up to here. I wanted to show you how to gently take this apart, but it's crumbling in my hands here. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. Probably have to glue it or find a way to get another one, or we'll get a good use harness somewhere. But I'm still going to restore this one. So let's see, we have two connectors. This is O, and this one is F. This is the F connector, and this was wires. If I can show you, really they're easy to come apart. They just gently pop them apart. These two will stay together, but the plastic is weak. Oh, look at that, broke it again. Wow, very delicate. But here's where one of the wires goes. I don't have the wiring diagram in front of me, but we're not really going to redo this yet. I just want to get it apart and show you where everything is. And we're going to take this wire out. I tried this already, and I really didn't expect it to work. But with these tools, you can buy them really cheap on Amazon, terminal tools. It just goes in and it popped right out. These don't usually work for me because they're so flimsy, but it did. So that's this one. So this is the wire that we want to use, we want to fix. Now again, I don't have a diagram in front of me. I don't know what wire this is. It's probably a 2.5 millimeter cross section. Now the wire that you buy at like Advanced Auto Parts or some of these auto parts stores don't really work too well. Let me show you why. This might be equivalent. I lost my blade. Oh, there it is. This would be an equivalent size. This is 10 gauge. But if you look at the difference, see how thick these strands are? It's very difficult to work with. And then you look at this one, how many finer strands there are to make up the wire. This wire is much more flexible and easier to work with. This is just relatively inexpensive wire that we do some repairs with if necessary. But the wire is so big, it's just hard to work with. And in the harness, it'll be very stiff throughout the harness. So we're going to try to locate the correct wire. I know I can get it from somebody. This is just generic wire we get around the shop. So let's start by disassembling the harness. I took pictures because I want to make sure I get the curves right on this. When we rewrap these, we want these to be wrapped pretty much the same shape. That way they also line up back under the fuse relay panel. If you don't do that, then you're fighting with one to cross over another one. It looks like a big mess under there. Well, not that this doesn't look like a big mess, but when it's all underneath the fuse relay panel, all installed, it looks pretty good. All right, so let's start by getting all this apart. Now, when you rebuild a harness, you don't want to use electrical tape. I have various types of harness tape. This is more for like the later Porsches. You see this under the dashboards and stuff. Even the smaller ones, you see it kind of unraveling from the heat, especially down here in Florida. You pull a connector off and the tape is already peeling off the harness. That's one way to do it. This is just basic electrical tape. It's really sticky, and it peels off eventually, and it makes a sticky mess. This is another, where is it here? This is another type of harness tape that works really well. It adheres to itself very well. It's thin, it works great, it's very flexible, it goes around corners nice, and you can pull it really tight and stick it to itself. So the special harness tapes are good. It's Amazon. You can get this stuff, everything at Amazon. Electrical tape really isn't for wiring harnesses, just FYI. This one, we're going to be doing some heat shrink on it, on the ends, as well as some braided nylon here and there, different legs that are going to come off it. We have to restore a lot of other things. I mean, look at these here. This is probably for the ignition. I imagine somebody had put an alarm system in this car at one time. I'm going to give you some homework. Look up G. What is that? G24. I can't see the numbers. I think that's G24. Look that up and tell me what that goes to. It might be the starter. So, I don't know. Take a look at that. Tell me what it is. Okay, so let's get this harness apart. Start by, I'm just going to tear this apart. I like these blades because they're very, very sharp. And I almost never cut myself, which is good. Boy, that's a real mess. I don't know what else is in there. There we go. This insulation, now the 1985-86 German cars, the Mercedes and even the Porsche 993, these harnesses, you can see where these wires aren't burned. It's just the insulation crumbled off of them. That happened on the 996s. I'm sorry, the 993, quite a bit. We were changing out harnesses on the engine because some of those would actually catch on fire. It was more than just 2 wires. It was all of them. And same on the Mercedes of that era. They were just coming apart and shorting out. Yeah, nice little grouping here. So we're going to find the correct wire. Yeah, red with a white tracer. Maybe some marine wire or something. No, most of the marine wire is a little different too. Okay, so let's find the end of this. Yeah, we're going to make this harness nice. I'll take you through all of that too as we rebuild this whole harness. I just wanted to show you this because we've gotten a lot of interest in this. I actually got a text. Somebody was asking me about this. I can't find it now. I was going to show it to you. But I don't think if we were to buy a harness, we would get a good used harness. This is pretty much common. And why only these wires? Maybe because of the heat. Alright, we're going this way. So, get this all apart. Again, I took pictures of all the layouts, so I know that this bend will be here. I'll make that bend again when I put it together. Eesh. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. I should have made Anthony do it. But I think he's on another one of his cruises somewhere. He gets out a lot. Yeah, look at that. What a mess. So most likely that these fans never really had any regulation. They would just probably just be on high, bypass the resistor the whole time. Okay. To do this in the car would be quite tedious. Ah! Just kidding. Just kidding. There's no code. Don't panic. Some of you are laughing, some of you are not. I get it. It's all fun and games till somebody slices a thumb off. And I still got all mine. After all these years. Okay, look at that. I wanted to have the resistors here, and with all the moving around we did here, I can't find them. They're on a shelf in a box somewhere, along with some other things I can't find. The pains of being in a cramped space. If you're gentle with the blade, you won't cut any other wires. I don't know if you can hear our neighbor's compressor. It's very annoying. Remember that? That goes out to the hood. That's for your heated windshield washer nozzles. Okay, this we want to keep sort of in the same shape here. It's like we're unraveling a mummy. Or a daddy. Don't really know the difference there. It's daddy-fied. This is a mess here. Wow. I just want to cut through the first couple of layers so it'll come off nicely. Now, as we unravel this, you can see how some of this is laid out. This one has a PVC plastic sleeve throughout the junction here. I don't know why they did that. That's a ground for, it looks like our, this is for the climate control that we showed you last time. Hope you liked that video, by the way. That was a lot of fun making. I think I said when I have the temperature sensor disconnected, it thinks it's in like some really hot climate. It actually goes cold. When you disconnect it, the voltage goes high. Just wanted to clarify that because I watched the video again. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. It goes, the climate control unit thinks that it's minus 40 degrees or something outside, so everything goes full heat. I misspoke. I hope you'll forgive me. That's the first mistake I ever made in my life. I must be getting old. And I babble a lot too. So it's an old age thing, I think. See, when they have a wire too long in the harness, they actually loop it to get the wire shorter so it fits to the very end, and we get a nice clean end on the wire. And so there's no, that's pretty close, but so there's no stragglers hanging off with a big loop of wire. So they put the loop inside the harness. I try to get the wire the correct length right from the get-go, but kind of hard to do. So if you get a little extra, just wrap it up deep in the harness where it won't be noticed. Then you got a nice clean repair. I'm gonna put this over here. These are very delicate now. I didn't realize how delicate these are, so we got to be real careful. I already broke one. Okay, we're not going that direction, so I'm going to leave that there. That'll keep this bundle together. We've got this one. And this one right here. So this is O. Oh. And we just don't want to disturb too much. So we'll just move this over. So these are all unbundled now. You can see our wire just comes in, makes a turn, so there's a nice junction here. We want to keep that so I can see it when I go to put it back together next time. These wires come right up here. Where are they in the harness here? Yeah, they're right on the bottom, so that's helpful. Right on the bottom, and comes up to, so we'll just take this one. Okay, this one, this is the end. It started being wrapped on this side, you can see, because this is underneath. We got a couple layers here we can take off. As you can see this coming off, it's not all slimy like if you use electrical tape. We're going to be doing a lot on electrical. We did the wiring harnesses, wiring diagrams. There's so much electrical in the car, it's good to know this stuff. And I know a little bit about it. I've been doing it for a long time. Yep. Right. So now we have a direct path here for, this is just one. Yeah, that looks like a 2.5. part of the wire, you can actually see the whole insulation. I think that's a 2.5 millimeter cross section, they call it, not the diameter. Boy, if I could go back and watch these harnesses being made, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so this is just one. It's interwoven with all these wires, so we won't do that again, I don't think. We're just gonna, when we replace the wire, we'll just lay it in there and feed it through. As long as it's all straight. Okay, we got it down to this middle junction here. Let's take the other one off. Yep. After this, I'll show you on the wiring diagram how this is depicted, this one circuit. Pretty surprising when you actually see it on the wiring diagram. See, we have another wire that's just looped back because it was probably too long by the time they finished it. So they just looped it back in the harness to get the length away from the connector. It's another stray. This is a good habit to get into, is put little pieces of tape here and there just to hold the hold it together before you do the final wrap on it. You'll see how we do that. What is this? That's an add-on. I'll leave that for now, so I fix that later. All right. How many? There should be 3. Gently. There's 1, 2, 3 wires here. There it is. Okay, there's 1. Now, I'll never be able to determine which one is which, so I'll be relying on the wiring diagram when I run these wires to get them in the correct spot. But we'll all go through that together when the time comes. See, the little piece broke off in there, was holding it. So what I just realized is these have to be separated for the wires to come out. That's why it had to come apart. I was trying to pull it apart with it all together, but see, these little plastic inserts lock the pins in so they can't come out. So, learned something there. Haven't had to do this kind of work much. This is interesting. Alright, we'll get through it. Remember, these are all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 for the columns, so they'll easily go back together. Hopefully I can make sure they stay together. We'll come up with something for that. Well, here they are. There's 1. 2, 3. Okay, here's 3, and then here's our 4th. Now, let's get them out. I don't want to cut them because I want the length. I want to know how long they are because they're going to be exactly the same length when I put them back in. That way it takes a lot of the guesswork out of positioning. Well, we're going to try anyways. Okay, here we are. Okay. Well, I guess we'll be guessworking it. It's interesting, the wire itself also is just so brittle. Well, I guess that's going to be near impossible to get through. So, change of plan. That's okay. That's okay. No problem. And one more. Maybe we'll get one. All right. Now there is an alternative to this. I don't particularly care for it because I like things to be just right. But technically, you could leave these in there and just run other wires. I mean, that works. But since we have it all apart, we want a nice repair, a proper repair. I can understand in a pinch, if the harness is still in your car, you might have a little trouble with it. Not only do we have a couple of pictures, we also have this video that's going to help me get this back together. There it is. Now the nice thing is, this is really the only thing that fails in the harness. All the other wires are in good shape. Just the resistor wires. Don't know why, if it's got something to do with the type of wire they chose in case it got hot or what, but in this era, 1986, other German cars are suffering from this, the whole harness, not just one little wire. So, now before we restore this harness, we're going to put these wires back in while we only have this section apart. That way nothing gets really confusing, and it can get confusing, I'm sure you know. So all we have to do is run some wires out into here, and maybe I'll leave them extra long on the resistor side to make sure that we get that right when it's in the car. I'll just tie them off for when we install it in the car. But that's it for today. We got them out. I'm going to find a good 2.5 millimeter wire that's really fine stranded, so it'll fit the whole way this harness is made. We have a lot of other little things to fix too. We got these little connectors, little cut wires that have been cut and spliced, and people wrap wires, cut the insulation back. We'll pull those back, put some heat shrink on there before we tape up the harnesses and clean all the connectors. But that's it for today. Hope you liked the video. We're going to say goodbye to the 944 turbo body for a little while. Electrician will be here Wednesday, I said. Hopefully he'll get the AC set up, and we'll start the electric for the other machine. Soon we'll be wet blasting some aluminum and putting things back together with new bushings and suspension and stuff like that. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. You suffered through this mess with me. Appreciate it. So like, subscribe, and get the notifications and spread the word. We're at 900 subscribers. 900. When we get to 1,000, I'm going to call my mom. Wait and see. Thanks for watching.